I've always known deep in my bones that my brain and my health as a woman and my hormones are connected in a way that I don't understand and my doctors have not been able to explain to me. When I was 13, I got my first period, and less than a month later, I got my first seizure. I was the last of my friend group to get my period, so I wasn't surprised, I wasn't scared, I knew exactly what was happening. But that was not the same with my first seizure, which happened a little less than a month later. I remember watching my brother play a video game with a lot of lasers and lights. And the next thing I remember was waking up in my parents' arms and seeing sort of the terror on their faces as I woke up from the seizure. We went to the doctor, and the doctors basically said, oh yeah, sometimes when women get their first period, it causes seizures. We don't really know why. It's hormones, And they assumed that that would kind of be like a one-off instance. But I kept having seizure after seizure after seizure. And these were grand mal seizures. So they're full body clenching, just total blackout, waking up exhausted, sore, confused, all of those things. I would often fall, cut my lips on my braces, because of course, 13-year-old girl with braces. And I could tell that my parents were just terrified and they didn't really know what to do. We went to lots of doctors in those days and tried different medications. Nothing really seemed to help. And some of the medications caused just absolutely horrific side effects. One thing I remember very clearly was looking in the mirror and discovering that my gums had actually grown over my braces and my mouth, and just having a complete meltdown because, this is back in the 90s. I have the curtain bang curl, the one big curl that was in style, and, acne and the whole thing. And then to also find out that, yes, I have gums growing over my braces was definitely not something that contributed to my self-confidence. Throughout this time in my life, another thing that kept happening over and over again was just these horrific periods with really bad PMDD. I had extremely heavy bleeding, cramps that kept me from living my life. And every doctor that I saw in my late teens and my 20s would say, oh, well, you're just not on the right birth control. We'll give you another hormonal birth control. And every time I would say, I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried the other one. These hormones don't work for my body. They don't solve the problem. And they give me all of these various side effects that actually make my day-to-day life worse and worse over time. Nobody really listened. They just kept making me try different ones. And as many of you with PMDD or PMS have experienced, the mood swings have an enormous impact on your life. Not only in that moment of trying to get through it, but the aftermath and the relationship repair that you have to do to, exist with other people in society. I tried other solutions as well. I tried the patch. I tried a hormonal IUD. The pain from that experience was so bad that it sent me into a seizure, even though I had not been having active seizures by this point. And I eventually, the doctor said, oh, it'll cramp, but then you'll get better. I went home and the cramping was so bad, I couldn't take it. And I actually pulled the IUD out on my own without any kind of medication. So over the years, things kept getting worse and worse. I experienced worse pelvic pain month over month, and finally went to my doctor one day and just said, hey, I read about this thing called endometriosis. I think I have it. I want surgery to get it removed. They definitely pushed back, and I kind of stood my ground and said, nope, I understand the risks. I understand going under general anesthesia. This is what needs to happen for me to continue to live my life. They did do the surgery, and I did have a confirmed diagnosis of endometriosis. But unfortunately, the pain only went away for about 3 months before it came back just as bad as ever. By this point in my life, my husband and I were trying to have a baby and discovered that my endo was also sabotaging my fertility. So we tried for years, before trying the world of fertility treatments. So Clomid, IUIs, and then finally we went into IVF. Luckily, I did produce a lot of eggs in my first retrieval, my only retrieval. But the flip side of that is my body is so responsive to hormones that I developed ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, which is one of the potential risks associated with IVF. And what that meant was fluid built up in my abdomen. And I went in to see the OB, and I looked about 6 months pregnant. And they gave me the choice. They said, we can put you under general anesthesia and drain all of this fluid from your abdomen, but that's going to take a day or two to like get the surgery room and all of that set up. They said, or you can just kind of bear it and we can drain it today. You won't have any kind of pain medication, and we'll go through the vaginal wall. And I couldn't bear it another day. I was in so much pain. So they ended up draining just enormous amounts of fluids from my abdomen. So throughout the years, I have come to terms with the fact that hormones and I, we are not friends. We do not get along for whatever reason. Dealing with PMDD decade after decade, dealing with endometriosis decade after decade has really taken a toll on my mental health in a lot of different ways and taken a toll on my relationships. I was very, very lucky to have found Samphire Neuroscience and to be able to experience the relief that came from that device. And to be honest with you, the first time I tried it, well, I saw it on an Instagram ad. And the first time I saw the ad, I thought, there's no way this is going to work. Like, this is magic. Like, of course they're not going to be able to create something that takes away my pain and takes away the mood swings and some of the issues that I'm facing. But I kind of viewed it as a check the box exercise. I tried all the birth control. I've tried an IUD. I've tried 8,000 different supplements. I've tried cutting caffeine, cutting alcohol. I exercise, I eat right. I've done all the things. And I was like, I'll try this one last thing and just see if it'll work for me, if it'll make any kind of a difference in my experience. That very first cycle, I was shocked because for the first time in my life, when I got my period, I discovered it by going to the bathroom and seeing blood, not because I was in debilitating pain and unable to work, doubled over, trying to take painkillers or anything that would take the edge off a little bit. So it really is amazing to me that something as simple as a little headband like that could impact my life in such a positive way. I'm very, very grateful for this technology. And I also find it inspiring and just incredibly reassuring that this is a female-founded company. I know that Dr. M knows what women are going through. She listens to women, she hears their pain, and she's responded with this innovative solution that I really think will change the lives of millions of women. So thanks, Dr. M.